Namaste, welcome. Well, this morning's been pretty crazy, so I wanted to just have a chair class that will really just get into some of the big muscles of our body, our shoulders and our hips, and just release some of that tension and stress and find some calmness in practice today. Hoping that with that calmness comes some activation of my muscle, my hope muscle, right? The hope that things will start to ease and have better direction in where we're going. And sometimes things are out of our control. So we have to come back to our yoga. We have to come back to our practice. So finding yourself at a nice, comfortable seated position. I'm going to move those blocks over. I like to have those blocks under my feet to feel some groundedness, some stability as I'm sitting here. I'm going to introduce Viloma breathing or ladder breathing to you today because Viloma breathing helps increase your lung capacity. And depending on the variation, there's a couple of variations of Viloma breath. It can either bring a sense of calmness or it can rev you up, really, exhilaration, like some excitement there, right? So we're going to use the variation of calmness because I think that's what's needed. Viloma breath can help, again, relieve anxiety by easing and settling your brain, right? So right now, that's what I need. A little bit of ease and calmness. So in Viloma breathing, it's also called ladder breath. So on the inhale, you'll inhale deeply up slowly and steadily, just like in Samavriti breathing. But at the top of your inhalation, you'll pause. And then you'll exhale down a third of the way. And you'll pause. And then you'll exhale down a third of the way and pause. And then fully exhale and release all your breath out. And then on the inhale, again, you'll slowly and steadily inhale all the way up to the top. And then pause. And then like you're stepping down a ladder or taking a tiny sip of tea, right? You'll sip or step down a third of the way, pause, a third of the way, pause, and a third of the way, and release. So we're going to try Viloma breath with that ladder breathing on our exhale. So everybody come to that nice seated position. Wiggle around first, hands on your knees. Take a deep breath in through the nose and sigh out the mouth. And just start to move some of that tension out of your body and focus your attention on your breath. Your eyes can be closed or gently focus towards the ground in front of you. And just start to witness and observe your breath, your in-breath and your out-breath, and focus only on your breath. Let all thoughts of the morning or the afternoon, whatever part of the day it is that you're at right now, just wash away with each in-breath and out-breath, focusing only on that and nudging or elbowing away any other thoughts you have here. And starting with that ladder breath on your next full inhale, come all the way up to the top of your inhalation and pause. And then slowly exhale a few seconds or steps down and then pause. And then exhale down again, 2/3 of the way down and pause. And then exhale fully out and expel your breath all the way out. And then start again slowly and evenly, inhaling all the way up to the top of your inhalation, pausing at the top, Being very mindful on the exhale to pause. And then exhale out a little bit more and pause. And then exhale out fully all the way out. And then again, inhaling all the way up to the top of your in-breath. And then take a few of these ladder breaths, this cleansing, calming Viloma breath at your own pace. Inhaling up smoothly and evenly with your in-breath, creating that pause at the top, and then exhaling out tiny bit. Maybe think of it as the top of your lungs, and then midsection, like your diaphragm area, and then fully out the rest of the way through your low belly. 2 more of these nice, relaxing breaths on your own. And when you come to that second final breath, just let your breath regulate and come to natural again. Inhaling slowly and steadily up through your spine, right? Think of your breath traveling up your spine, that beautiful piece of engineering, your spine, right? Up through the crown of your head, and then just slowly expelling your breath all the way down towards your root chakra, Muladhara chakra, your base, your stability here. And then gently open your eyes. We're going to move now through some wrist circles. So bring those hands out in front of you and just gently circle your wrists left and right. You can make a fist, or if you want your fingers spread wide open, you can do that too. Sometimes it's nice just to wiggle those fingers and get those joints in your fingers moving as well. Sometimes it's nice to just, wow, like make surprise fingers, right? All right, and then when you're good with that and you feel like you've done some nice circles and got those wrists nice and loose, bring one of those feet out in front of you and circle your ankles. And now just getting into those joints in your ankles, and maybe flex and point those toes, and maybe try some surprise fingers with your toes, some surprise toes, right? And when you've done one foot, you can bring that foot down to your block or the floor and move into the other as well. You know, your feet hold your whole body up, right? So we have to give those feet and toes some love and compassion at times too. And then when you're done there, bring both feet back to your blocks or the mat. We're going to move into some shoulder shrugs or shoulder rolls. So shrug your shoulders up to your ears and then release those shoulders down. You can let those arms dangle at your side. You don't have to have them on your thighs anymore. Just really let those arms release as you inhale, your shoulders up and down on the exhale, right? And maybe rotate those shoulders in circles again. Your hands can stay on your knees if they choose, or you can just swing easily on your sides, right? So forward and back with your shoulders, releasing tension in your neck. And then bring your hands back to your knees as you inhale, lengthen up through your spine, and exhale, chin to chest. Feeling a stretch all along the back of your neck here. Breathing into the back of your neck. And then gently release that left ear over to your left shoulder. And then round and swing your head to the back. So now your head is facing up towards the ceiling. And then when you're ready, gently roll that right shoulder over to the right. Your right ear over to your right shoulder. And then back down through center, chin to chest. And now slowly at your own pace, whatever direction you want, right or left, just gently rotate your head in circles. You need to stop on one side or the other to just massage that area a little bit more. Go ahead. Whatever feels good in your body today. Support your body, right? Support yourself. And when you're ready, you can rotate your head the opposite direction. Remembering that your neck, right, holds up that 10 to 12 pound bowling ball, that head on your shoulders, right? It's like checkers stacked with that ball on top of it. Our head's held up only by 7 small vertebrae. So make sure you give that neck some attention here. All right, now in your next full rotation, come to neutral again. And this time, maybe roll your shoulders again before you bring your arms out straight in that letter T. And then inhale and clasp your hands behind your back and exhale over to the left side, keeping both hips planted on your chair. So if your left hip starting, or your right hip is starting to come off that chair, then make sure you plant it back down there, maybe even come out of your side stretch if you need to. Then inhale back up to neutral and stretch over to the right side or the opposite side. Spine nice and long, remembering to breathe here. Your gaze can be right out in front of you. No crease in your neck here. Inhale back up to center and then exhale to the other side. Maybe make a tiny, maybe a mindful rhythm here, movement here. So inhaling up to center and exhaling over to the side. Inhaling and exhaling, feeling a nice opening across your chest, pressing those elbows back behind you, hands clasped behind your head, maybe pressing into the back of your head, giving your head a little massage maybe with those fingers behind your head. And then come back up to neutral and shake those arms out. All right, wonderful. Now maybe big circles with your arms to the back. Left arm and then right arm. Just circle those like you're doing the backstroke, right? Really get into those shoulder blades. You know, our shoulders are one big muscle, and then you can come forward. The deltoid muscle, right, that runs from your clavicle in the front all the way to your scapula in the back. So releasing those shoulders really gets away and rid of some of that tension. So circling forward and back, and then again, just release and breathe it out, right? We're trying to get rid of that tension. We're trying to bring in the calm and the peace. So again, remembering to keep your breath even and steady. And if you forget if you start to, your mind starts to wander, come back to your breath, right? Come back to your breath. So you can keep your blocks under your feet or you can push them out of the way. I'm going to push mine out of the way and just come a little bit closer to the edge of my seat. Inhaling my arms up overhead, palms facing each other, tall straight spine as I exhale and forward fold, floating my hands all the way down to the ground or maybe just to my knees, whatever's comfortable for you here. And then inhale, halfway lift, fingertips to the shins or my knees. And then exhale, forward fold. And keeping those feet nice and grounded, press those feet in the ground. Use your core to lift yourself all the way up to upward salute. And then hands down through heart center. So we'll move through a couple more at your own pace, remembering feet grounded. You want to feel stability. If you start to feel like you're sliding off the chair, sit back a little farther. You want to have that grounded, stable base before the strength, right? So inhale your arms up overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Sweep your arms down to the ground or blocks even, or to your knees. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep your arms all the way up ahead, overhead, and then back down through heart center. Again, inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Feet in the ground. Use that core to come all the way up and then back down through heart center. Move through a few of these half sun salutations at your own pace, your own breath, remembering if you start to feel dizzy or you do have high blood pressure, you don't have to come all the way down in the forward fold. Your fingers don't have to come to blocks or the ground. They can simply come to your knees, and you can just gently lean over those knees and then come right back up. So you don't have to fold all the way down. Okay, on the next full forward fold, inhale, halfway lift and back down, and then sweep your arms up and come back to that neutral spine. Hands on your knees. Close your eyes for just a couple deep breaths. Bring your attention, your awareness back to your breath in this seated Tadasana pose. You can even bring your hands alongside you, palms facing forward. Lift up from the base of your spine all the way out through the crown of your head, feeling powerful here in seated Tadasana. Your feet should be shoulder distance apart, and maybe a tiny lift in your toes and then plant them back down. Feeling energized, rolling those thigh muscles in towards your midline will really button up your core, right? Feel that belly engage, feel your chest expansion here, your face relax, maybe a tiny smile on your face. All right, and now on your next inhale and full exhale, slowly open your eyes if you have them closed. Bring your hands back to your thighs, moving into a couple cat-cows. So on your inhale, slide those hands up your thighs till they come to your hip bones. Stretch those shoulders back behind you and look up towards the ceiling in cow pose. And then exhale, rounding your back, slide those hands to your knees, chin to chest, into cat. Inhale up through cow. Curve in your spine here as you look up at the ceiling, shoulder blades down. And exhale to cat, chin to chest, rounding your shoulders together. Move through a few cat-cows at your own breath, your own pace, opening up those muscles across the front of your chest and across your back. Inhaling and exhaling slowly and deeply. Okay, on your next full cat-cow, come back to neutral spine. You get into those hip muscles. So take that right knee and swing that right knee and plant it to the side of your chair. So your right knee is in line with your right ankle, like that nice 90-degree angle. I'm still on the edge of my chair here. My hips are facing towards the front, so they're not facing towards the side of my, or the short edge of my mat, right? They're facing towards the front. So right foot planted to the side, my toes are facing the short edge of the mat. And then I'm going to take and slide my left foot behind me into, might have to see, look at me, I even sat up a little bit. I used my core to get myself up on, seated a little bit more comfortably on the edge of my seat. So if you look back at your right foot or your left foot behind you, that straight long line, you'll see that my toes are a little bit forward from my ankle. That's where you want them to be here. And bring your hands to your hips and just gently, just try to guide those hips so that they're towards the front, the long edge of your mat. Press down through both of your feet. Feel nice and stable here before you inhale those arms up towards a T, and then you can look over those right fingertips. Feel your strength here in Virabhadrasana 2, Warrior 2, shoulders down away from your ears, relaxing your face, breathing into Warrior 2, pressing back through that left heel, pressing up through your right heel. You might even feel a lift up through your core, out through the crown of your head. On your next inhale and exhale, reverse your warrior. So left hand comes to your left thigh or back of your knee, actually, as your right hand sweeps up overhead. Your gaze can come up towards the ceiling. Your hand can always come to your shoulder if it doesn't feel comfortable with your arm up overhead. And then on your next inhale and exhale, come back to warrior two, moving into extended side angle. So your right elbow is on your left knee, and your left hand will come up overhead. Really open up your chest here. So from here, you can also have your hand on your shoulder. If you bring your shoulder down so that your chest is floating a little bit towards the ground, and then you bring your fingers on your shoulder, your left fingers, and then inhale and rotate that shoulder open, you'll really feel a nice chest opener here. And then maybe reach your hand up overhead. And breathe into this pose. Don't let your left elbow sink into that left knee. You want to feel a lift here. On your next inhale, use your core to come back up to warrior two. And then bring your hands down to your knees. Slide those knees back together and just march those feet. Step those feet out, right? And sit for a moment and feel how your hips feel here. Just let your awareness come to your hips, to that nice stretch before we move to the other side. So plant that left foot over to the left side of your chair. Your toes are facing, the short edge before you slide that right foot behind you. You might have to wiggle here. I'm going to sit up a little bit and come back to seated. And again, looking back at your right toes, you should see the right toes are maybe a little bit in front of that right heel. So as you stretch, bring your hands to your hips. Inhale and lengthen up through your spine. Really feel grounded and stable here. Before you inhale your arms out to a T and gaze out over those left fingertips. Relaxing your shoulders away from your ears. Maybe a tiny smile here. Relax your forehead, your cheeks, your chin. Breathing in, feeling a lift up from your sits bones, up through your spine, out through the crown of your head. We're going to reverse our warrior. So inhale. And then exhale, drop that right hand to the right thigh or behind your knee as you let that left arm reach and stretch above you. And again here, you can bring your fingertips to your shoulder and really open up that shoulder, right? So if you bring your fingertips to your shoulder and then you kind of rotate and use your fingers to kind of press that shoulder back, you can really open up your chest here. And breathe. Feel that stretch along the left rib cage. Really stretch up here. And then inhale. Use that core to come back to warrior two. Extended side angle. So left elbow to left thigh. And then stretch that right arm up overhead. Really feel an opening in your chest. Feel a nice line, a nice stretch all the way from the pinky side of your right foot up the length of your thigh and your side, all the way out through your fingertips. Really stretch here. And again, here, if you feel like your chest is leaning towards the ground, really pull and rotate in the waist so that you open up towards the ceiling. And breathe. Steady out your breathing. And now use your core to come back up to warrior two. And then bring your hands to your knees and gently guide them to the front of your chair and shake those feet out, maybe a few taps or marches, and close your eyes again. Letting the awareness go to your hips and how they feel. Maybe there's some tingling, some energizing in those large hip muscles, right? It feels so great. So now we're actually going to come to stand. And we're going to use the back of our chair to do a few push-ups here. So really get into our shoulders here as well. So using the back of your chair, step your feet back a few feet from your chair so that you can lean into that chair to do some push-ups, right? So make sure that you're not directly in line, perpendicular, right, with that chair, that you have a little bit of an angle going here. Step those feet back. Toes are facing the back of the chair. Your hands are on the back of your chair. Make sure your chair is stable. So I'm on my mat on a carpet. So my chair isn't going to move when I push into the back of the chair because I'm going to be using that chair for some resistance. So if you're on a slidey floor, you're going to want to get a mat or something to prevent your chair from rolling out. You do not want to fall here. If you want, you can always use the wall for this pose as well. So I'll show you that in a moment. But bring your hands to the back of that chair and just lean into that chair first. Feel that angle of your body. Press into your heels, the back of your heels. Really start to energize the back of your legs, from the back of your heels up through your calves, the back of your thighs, into your hips. Really breathe in here and maybe close your eyes for a breath. So we're sort of at an angled Tadasana, right? An angled mountain pose. Feel the energy, feel the stability in your feet. And breathe. We're going to move into some push-ups here. So you want to keep your elbows in towards your side as you inhale, and then exhale and press into the back of that chair. My elbows are into my side, and hold it here for a breath. And then exhale back up, and then inhale down into that push-up, and then exhale back up. And take this at your own pace, your own breath, keeping those elbows and shoulders down. Don't let those shoulders hike up towards your ears. You know, you really want to try to have a nice level shoulder here. You don't want to harm any of those muscles, right? We have a lot of shoulder injuries sometimes, so you want to be careful here. Now, if you're using the wall, you can use the wall. I don't know how well you'll be able to see this, but bringing your hands to the wall, again, stepping your feet back a few inches. Your hands should be shoulder distance apart as you inhale, and then exhale your elbows to the wall and then back up. So elbows will float down towards the wall and then back up. So you can use the wall if the chair isn't very stable. Okay, on your next full push-up, come back up to your chair so you're in that nice line. This time, cross your arms so that your forearms are laying on the back of your chair. You can stay at the same angle here. Maybe walk your toes in just a little bit more. Okay, and then press those right toes back behind you so that now you're on that big toe. You're right on that tippy top of that toe. And inhale and exhale. On the next inhale, lift that leg up behind you. Bend that knee. So now the sole of your foot is facing the ceiling, and slowly pulse. Inhaling and exhaling, pulsing the sole of that foot up towards the ceiling, pressing into that standing leg so that you stay nice and even here. You don't want that bent knee to be floating over right to the side. We're going straight up and down. Inhaling and exhaling. Really using those hip muscles, the gluteus maximus, gluteus minimus here to really get some nice strength. And then on the next inhale and exhale, straighten that leg out straight behind you, toes pointed towards the ground. Bring that foot back down to meet the other. We're going to move to the other side. So maybe step back and forth. Bring that left toe or right, whichever one you started with, out behind you. Inhale and then lift those toes up behind you. Really using that chair for some stability in the front as you bend that left knee. And let the sole of your foot start to pulse up towards the ceiling. Again, keeping your hips nice and square here, square as you can. Tiny bend in that standing leg. You don't want your standing leg popped back, right? You always want to have a tiny bend in that standing leg. And let that foot pulse up and down. Really tighten up those glutes. And on your next inhale and exhale, bring that foot back down to meet the other. And just let your head, your forehead, lay on those forearms. And really breathe here. Inhale up through the nose, sigh it out the mouth. Tiny bend in those knees. Just feel your legs. Be aware of the movement that you created in your butt, right? Your bottom, and maybe in the backs of your legs, and just feel that nice tingling feeling of being alive here. Okay. And now slowly walk up to the back of your chair and come back to seated. And you can bring those blocks back over if you have blocks, or you don't have to. I'm going to bring mine back over. And then bring those feet to your blocks, or bring your feet so that your knees are in line with your hips. They're not together. Your feet aren't touching, right? Your big toes aren't touching. You at least have a little space there. And again, get comfortable on those sits bones. Wiggle around. Feel that nice long length in your spine. And then inhale and bring that right knee in towards your chest as you bring your chin to your knee, right? A little crunch here. And then drop that right knee to your block and bring that left knee in towards your chin to your knee, a tiny crunch. You're going to have a round in your back, and inhale that knee up and exhale down, and move through a few core crunches here at your own pace. So knee in, round that back, chin to knee, and then exhale. Inhaling and exhaling. Steady out your breath. Belly nice and tight. Really observe and sense and allow yourself to feel all your muscles activating here, right? Using all the big muscles today. Shoulders, core, glutes. All right, on your next inhale and exhale, bring your feet back to your blocks and take that right ankle and bring that right ankle right on top of that left knee, like you're crossing your legs here. So this is a seated figure 4. Inhale and lift up through your spine. Hands on an ankle and a knee as you exhale, and maybe start to tilt over those legs. Your legs, not those, because whose else would they be, right? So let that chest just gently fall over your right leg, your right shin. Hips grounded on your chair. Press back through those hips. On each inhale and exhale, maybe your torso floats a little bit farther over that right shin. Pressing back, feeling a length in your spine here. Allowing your breath to circulate around that right hip. On your next inhale, come back up to seated and switch legs. Maybe march it out first, and then bring that left ankle on top of that left knee. Both hands on knee and ankle as you inhale and lengthen. And then exhale, float that torso over that calf, that shin, pressing back through both hips. And breathe. Your gaze should be at the ground in front of you. No creases in your neck here. That nice stretch in your hip. Even stretching out your gluteus maximus and minimus that we worked just a little while ago. Breathe here. Then bring yourself back up to seated and just sit for a moment and feel how that asana, that pose felt in your body. Maybe envision yourself in that figure 4 and really let it settle in and sink in. And then stretch your arms up overhead and exhale and twist open to the left side, keeping a nice straight spine. Maybe your left hand goes to the back of your chair, your right hand to your knee, and stretch your arm up overhead and then twist open to the right side or whichever side. It is that you did. It doesn't really matter. And inhale back up and maybe twist open again one more time. And breathe, shoulders down. Hopefully feeling a sense of relaxation here and calmness in your breath as you inhale up and then back over in that twist. And then bring yourself back to the center of your chair, moving into Shavasana. So here in Shavasana, you can either sit on your chair, you can bring your back to the back of your chair if you choose. You can always take a bolster or blankets or pillows and put them on your lap. Cross your arms and let your forehead rest on your forearms like this. Or if you even want to come to your mat and lay flat on your mat, you can. So I'll give you a few seconds here to get comfortable in Shavasana. If you're seated or you have that bolster on your lap or pillows, then just let yourself close your eyes. Close your eyes and just really let your breath come back to even and steady. Just let it be natural here. Don't worry about breathing in deeply, unless if you'd like to do another cleansing breath of inhaling up through the nose and exhaling out through your mouth. If you're comfortable on your mat, just let those feet swing open to the side, either side of your mat. Let your arms either lay gently at your side with the palms facing up, or maybe even one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart, maybe both hands on your heart. Let yourself sink into your mat. And no matter where you are in Shavasana, close your eyes if you haven't already, and breathe. So for me, I really was needing a little bit of this calmness and peace in our day. There's, again, so much change that's going on, so much that is different in our lives. And when we're faced with these difficulties, we often seek ways to change how we feel because we're trying to outthink the emotions, the experience that we're having, and or putting our attention elsewhere when we really should attend to these difficult moments with mindfulness. And that can require some patience and compassion. And that's where yoga really comes into play, by allowing our minds to be still, to focus only on our breath, to allow the benefits and the beauty of our breath to help us find that stillness and compassion for ourselves. When we're in these painful experiences or difficult situations that are taking away our feelings of calmness, then we're often at ease. So we need some things like yoga and meditation and breath work to help us see the situation, the experience a little more clearly. Not to push it away. Continuing to inhale and exhale. Maybe even right now, bringing both hands to your heart center, no matter where you are here. Placing your hands on your heart can help stimulate that vagus nerve that really gets into the parasympathetic nervous system, that calming place in our body, that part of our nervous system that can really help us relax and bring us back to heart center. And if you have any difficult situation like myself this morning, Just recognize that situation, that difficulty, that pain, and keeping your hand on your heart, offer yourself a phrase or something that helps you recognize it and respond and circle it with compassion. Like maybe this is a moment of pain, or this is a moment of difficulty, or maybe something like, I can't avoid all pain in my life, or I care about this suffering. And repeat this to yourself with the intention of caring for yourself and caring for this difficulty. And don't try to fix it. If your mind starts to go to that, don't. Just go back to that phrase, I can't avoid all pain. I care about this suffering. This is a moment of discomfort. And just acknowledge it. Now, gently and slowly let go of that phrase. Slowly bring your hands back to your knees, or you can lay your hands alongside of you, wherever you are in Shavasana. And then gently open your eyes. If you're on your mat, lean over or roll over to one side and gently bring yourself back up to seated. Try to keep your eyes closed here. It's nice to end Shavasana in one more moment of silence, being introspective, focusing only on you and your inner breath, your inner awareness. Then bring your hands up to your chest, thumb knuckles in towards your heart, that center of your chest. Thank you all for practicing with me this nice calming practice. A little energizing, getting into all the joints and muscles today and just releasing and relaxing. Namaste.